Hey guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to another video, welcome to ambulances driving by in the background. Yeah, nice timing, great way to start off a live stream. That's just the way it is, alright? Yes, it's the way it goes sometimes, you know. Oh wow. Oh, hey there Deception Man, how you doing? Today, we're going to continue working on this guy right here. That is the 1/48 scale F-18E by Meng. We're doing Maverick's version, and we're continuing with this guy right here. This is what we got going on so far. Last time, we put on our fins, front and back on the wings. As you can tell, if you watched the last video, these were gray, so I touched them up with some black primer to just keep some consistency so that it's all going to look the same when I actually start putting some gray paint down. So I did those, and the little parts up at the front here along the leading edge that I didn't quite get done. So I got that all blacked off, and as you can see, I also did a little touch up in the nose here where I put the white putty to fill in that little gap. I'm pointing here, but I mean here. Yeah. Anyway, that's what we did last time, and now it's time to move on. What are we doing next? Well, according to the book, we got to do the tail fins. So let's get those next. We're going to work on our bee tree. Looks like everything off the bee tree except for this one little piece. Looks like, I'm not sure what that's going to be all about, but we'll find out. So let's wait. We need B10 and B19. Okay. Here's our bee tree. I'm going to quickly change my glasses while we do this. All right. Okay. So B10 and 19. Let's see what we got here. Here's 10. 10 to 10. And we need 19. Which one is 19? 10 and 11. Oh, here's 19. There we go. There we go. Okay. So 10 and 19, and we need this piece in the middle here, but that's this. This is going to be B22. It's this one. And we need B8, one of these little guys over here. And we need D37, and we need H4. H is a clear part that I'm supposed to paint red. I'll do that after, because there's not really any point in putting this on here, painting it red, and then having to mask it later when I'm painting this thing gray. So, put that aside for now. But I do need D37, so I need to grab my D. $37. It's 35, 36, 37, a little tiny guy right here. Okay. So, we're going to clean these up a little bit. Actually, you know, the other day when I kind of misplaced my knife and I used my file to file down these nubs, I was actually quite surprised at how nicely it cleaned them up. Better than the knife. And the reason I say that is, you know, using the knife, it's easy to actually carve away too much and actually carve an indent, which I've been known to do, and suddenly you don't have the problem of a little bump, you've got a problem of a little crater, because I went a little too heavy-handed with the knife. And so the other day when I temporarily couldn't find my knife, I had to think of another way to get these nubs off, and I filed them down, and it actually worked out really well, and I was pleasantly surprised at how well it did. As I'm talking about how good it was, I'm now back to using the knife. Well, I'm using the knife because I'm used to using the knife, and I don't want to file down big nubs. It's just a lot of extra work for nothing. So it's just up at the top here. I want to have no evidence of these little nub marks. You know, I don't know if there's anything I'm supposed to put on top of the fins. You know, like on an F8, on an F-15, you've got those little radar things, or jammers, I think they are. I can't remember. Probably wrong. That go on top of the tail fins. I don't think anything goes on top of these. Anyway, so I gotta take this little guy and make sure he's clean. So get these cleaned up, I'll change the camera for you guys so you can see a little easier what I'm doing, especially with my new camera. It's nice and clear, although it does seem to hunt to focus a little more often than the other one did. But anyway, okay, they're cleaned up, so let's change the camera and you get to see what I'm doing. Alright, hello again. Okay, so we're going to start off with this part here. We're going to take this, like that. This guy's going to sandwich in between the two. He's going to go like this, right in there. And then this piece is going to go on top. Now they're saying don't glue that. So we only want to glue this part. Well, if you're using thin glue, just by the sheer capillary action, you could wind up accidentally gluing that. And so that's why I like to use the thicker stuff. It kind of stays put a little bit better, although the nature of the big brush it comes with can be a bit of a challenge of its own in putting it down precisely. But that should be okay, just like that. It's kind of squeezed out the side a little bit, that's fine. That should be alright. So we have this now, and that's going to go in between these two. So we take this like that. So this has a little notch it's going to go in, plus a little notch up here, and I did not clean up that good enough. So let's just make sure that's going to fit nicely in there. Unlike most model kits, it looks like I'm going to be able to actually move this whenever I want, because we do want to glue that in here. Okay, we want to glue this piece. This is going to get glued in here, although not specifically in here, but this is going to get sandwiched together, and so a little dab of glue on there is not going to hurt. So glue, especially on the little peg. I might kick myself later for not dry fitting this first, but let's see if Put a little bit of glue there that'll just help it to stay home. And then we're going to put the two together. As I am finding with this kit, the fit of all these pieces and parts go together really well. I would say the fitment is on par with Tamiya. Meng does a pretty good job. I will definitely give him props for that. So we have a workable tail fin. That's pretty cool. I like that. All right, so there's one side. So let's get the other side done. Now, do they do the same thing on the other page? No. So we've got, this is our port side, this is our starboard. Okay, so the starboard, same thing. We've got B11 and B20. Having done it once, it's pretty easy to determine which ones we're going to be using next. And that's going to be it for the B tree. The B tree is done. These two guys here, these were for if we're doing the flaps up, or the wingtips in the upward position, but we're not. So this one's finished. We're done with that. Grabbing the D again, and we got to get our little piece out of here. There we go. Okay. Cleanup time. Just cut myself. Hopefully I don't start bleeding everywhere. So far, so good. Okay. Once again, on the top, I want to use my file. File these down. Get that nice and clean. Now, when you have them together, you can even go a little bit more on it and just make sure that you've got consistency and get rid of that little seam line up top there. But for now, we'll just take care of this nubs. The rest of these don't really need to be filed. I mean, sure I can, just to make sure they're not sticking up. This one doesn't matter, that's going to be sitting inside the fuselage. There we go. Okay, so starting with this guy, we're going to put this little guy in there again. Okay, just like that. Let's get rid of some of these. And then, put a little dab of glue, just like I did before. Not too much. So I don't want it to accidentally go out to the edges and stop this guy from moving. I want him to be able to move. Speaking of which, I want that cleaned up, and I need this cleaned up. There we go. Okay, let's grab one of these. This is going to go in there like that. I'll put some more glue down here, right to the edge. I got a bit of a clump of glue there where part of it is dried, but not in a good way. And I want to put a little bit right there just to help it. And I got to get this out of there, little clump. There we go. I like that. That's cool. It's not too often I have not built a lot of planes where they actually engineer the ailerons to be movable. Usually you got to do some kind of custom thing, cutting them or whatever, and then I have done that in the past where I've literally cut it out and then put it at just a little bit of a slight angle, like doink, just a little bit, and glued it in like that so that you can tell that's where the aileron is. Is it the aileron? Anyway, that's that. So we're going to double check this one and see. Yep, it still moves, which means I didn't get any accidental glue on there. So that's perfect. Yes, I do want to put a little bit of glue here just to add to its rigidity. Very good, very good. Okay, that's our two vertical tills. The next thing we've got is the engines. The engines are going to require some painting that I have not done yet. So let's take a look at D27. Okay, grab our D, grab AD. There's 27, there we go, right there. Of course we need two, so we'll get the other one. Okay, we need our cones. Now they're calling out for D13 and 14, but as I mentioned in my very first video of this, when you're looking at these things, one has good detail and one does not. And it's just a flaw in the molding. So I'm going to wind up using one and not the other on both of my trees. So first things first, I'll just get them off here. Okay. Now I need another part. I need 17 and 18. So where are those? Over here. Okay. So let's get these off of here too. Okay. So there's that. There's one. There's 17 and 18 off of this tree. And let's get our cones off of here. Okay. Now, let's determine which ones we're going to use. This one's got some pretty decent carving, so that's a maybe. This one looks pretty good and pretty detailed too. Strong lines. Pretty good. Although they're not quite the same. I don't know if you can tell on the camera. You see this line right here, it goes like this, and then it makes a sharp turn, and then goes the rest of the way. Where these ones, they're just straight. Straight line, straight line. These ones go up to here, then they turn. They gotta take a sharp 90 degrees and then they turn. Each one, boom, boom, boom. Like little lightning bolts. And it's the exact same on these. So I get a choice. I either use lightning bolts or I don't. Now what's kind of funny is they're showing on the pictures we get a choice. We choose either one. I choose lightning bolts over the straight lines. The lightning bolts look cool. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use the lightning bolts. You guys watching this on YouTube? Let me know in the comments if the lightning bolts, if these ones represent a newer style or an older style. Because I don't know. I'm pretty sure, just from my limited knowledge of Air Force stuff, usually that's what the difference is it's some kind of a newer style they came out with, or it's a different engine on the same plane that they started using after a particular year, and then that's how they look. But then, you know, your model kit, you get both options, whatever you want to do. So just cleaning these up before I paint them, because while paint is going to be necessary, I got to paint the inside of these. These I don't, well, they are going to go, there is front and back. These two go together like that. So what do you think's easier? Put them, glue them together first and then paint, or paint outside? Paint them and then glue them. Obviously, paint and then glue. But I haven't done any primer on the inside of these yet. So that's going to be the first thing I do. And how am I going to prime them? Well, I'm going to stick them on my table with a piece of tape, and so that the spray can doesn't blow them away. Hindsight being 2020, I probably should have just primered them while they were on the sprue. But that's just the way it goes. So So I just lay down a piece of tape like that. Here. Change my cam. How does my other camera look? My painting cam looking right now. Painting cam. Hello. There we are. This is where I'm going to be doing it. Just do this. Doink. And doink. And doink. And doink. Like I said, I just don't want it to blow away in the wind. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Let's do that. For these. And these. Okay. Mr. Surfacer 1500 black. I'll shake it over here. Alright, don't have to go crazy with it. Just enough to get inside those cones. That's all I need. That's good enough. It's good enough as I do some more. Yes. Okay. Back to scene one. So we have our photo etched little pieces that need to go inside, and that's these guys right here. Okay. So they go inside there. They're saying don't cut them. Why don't cut them? I don't know. Actually, that's not the cut symbol. That's the glue. They're saying not to glue it. So I guess it just press fits against the little cone inside the... What do they call these? Burners? Is this the burner? Anyway, we got to put those in there. But I need to paint first before I actually assemble it. And so what I want to do, now that those are black, you notice the inside of a lot of jet engines, they're kind of like almost white. They're a burnt white kind of thing. So that's what I need to do. I need to paint it that burnt white color. So that will be that part. Getting inside in here in the cones, painting in there white and making it look, well, burnt. And same with this part of the engine, the canisters, the cans. Those gonna get that same treatment, but the actual fan, that's basically gonna be gunmetal. You dry yet? Yeah, we're pretty dry. Yeah, see, I didn't get in there all that great, but I don't really care too much because it's gonna be white anyway. This one is pretty much good. Our two cones, these guys need a gunmetal treatment. And so that's what I'm going to give them right now. That will be gunmetal right there. Don't have to do a whole lot, but the reason I'm doing the gunmetal is I'm going to leave these, they're nice shiny silver color, and so that'll contrast a little bit against the darker gunmetal color. So there's that. Okay, again, I want these to, I don't really need them to dry anymore, so moving these guys out of the way, so they don't get any white. I would like to use insignia white instead of just regular flat white, but I don't have. I do have insignia white, but I don't want to bother firing up my air compressor and everything just to airbrush 4 tiny little pieces like that. So I'll just do this, and I'll do it in kind of a very light coat. Just like that. So that's what we're going to get. That's our color. Yeah. White with a little black. Basically, for lack of a better term. That's what I love about Tamiya paints. They dry so fast. You do a light coat, they dry super fast. I love that. Okay, these guys, I don't want to get them mixed up, so I'm going to put them over here. Why am I even keeping them? I'm not going to keep them. Done. Gone. Okay, so these are done. Just to add a little more detail, panel liner on the inside to give accentuate the fins, even though you probably never really see it. It's one of those little details that you know you did it, you know it's there. Maybe other people won't notice it, but you know you did it. You know it's there. There we go. Okay, let's get these guys off of here. I really like that they do it in 2 parts like that. So it come off like that. Normal photo etch, you've got to, get on your thing and you got to trim them off of there and then file it down, but not with these, not with this kit. That's really, really awesome that I don't even have to worry about that. And it's thick enough, these don't really bend very much. They've made them a little bit thicker than normal stuff, and so they don't bend, or they're not having that tendency to want to bend and flex. So I'm guessing because they're telling me not to even glue it, the little fingers on the inside are probably just gonna grab onto the center of that cone as I press it in, I guess. Or maybe not. Maybe it just rests on that edge. It doesn't even go in. How do I not glue it if it's not in? I mean, you gotta glue it. Unless it's just friction just holding it in. It does go in that notch. It's a very tight fit though. So we're going to go around the edge like that. Let me get back on the camera there. Sorry about that. So I've pressed it in to the middle of here. I'm just going around the edge with my knife at the very, very edge of it to make sure it's pressed down all the way like that. Okay, what a difference. You can't even see the fins in behind it now. It's kind of a little bit disappointing. I did notice one side of this is all just plain silver. You flip it over and we've got each line, we've got silver, white, silver, white, silver, white. You might be able to tell on this one. Let's see if I can, how close I can get to my new camera with the thing and have it focus. There. You can see how each other one is white compared to the others. So at least we'll see that detail in theory. So it kind of just sits like that, but when you press it a little bit, it actually goes down into that groove. So I just kind of worked it around to convince it to go in there. Press down hard enough to make sure it actually gets seated all the way around. Okay, there we go. So that's those. Let's go back to our little halves here. Okay. Now, with the white I've done, I don't like how it's kind of just gotten rid of all the detail. So, I'm going to go back to our black panel liner. And put some lines back in. You might be thinking, wow, you just got rid of all the white you did. Yeah, well, you just wait. So after a few minutes of letting that dry a little bit, I'll get my Q-tips or cotton buds or whatever you want to call it, and clean off a lot of this. All right. There we go. Okay. Now, if I were to just take a Q-tip and just start wiping it clean, it basically just pull it all right out. So that's why you got to let it dry for a few minutes. And then you can use a Q-tip with a little bit of thinner and just get on the top edges of it. So then we have these guys to deal with. Okay, I do kind of want to put some black on the inside of that one. So I'm going to do this so I can hold it. Okay, this one, yeah, it could use a little bit right in there. So I'm going to do that. So I will get my primer again. And I'll do a quick little spray on the inside of these. There. Okay. Just let that sit there and dry a little bit, and I'll get this one now. And now this one has the same treatment. It's all black on the inside. You might be thinking, well, why are you doing it all black if you're going to do it white anyway? If you're going to do white and then hit it with the panel liner, why are you even bothering painting it black first? Well, the simple reason why I paint it black first is it's a primer. It's priming the surface to get it prepared for the paint. It gives the paint something to stick to a little bit better, and it's just all around better practice. Now, you watch my channel and you go back to like my first videos, I almost never used any primer at all. And I went on about how great Tamiya spray paints are, and that you don't need primer because they come out looking pretty good anyway, blah 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 blah. And I did. I never used to prime stuff back then. And now you see me using this, and this whole plane has been primered in the black. Why? Because I found using the airbrush, the paint, it behaves better over a primer. There are imperfections in the molds, in the plastic itself. You can see them a lot of times. You can actually see it in this right here. This one here, I don't know if this camera will show it. You can see right where my knife is, there's a line. There's kind of an invisible, weird looking line right there where the texture of the paint is different. Right there, okay? That's in the molding of the plastic. That's not because I did a funny thing when I was painting it. That's the actual plastic that's done that. When you don't prime it, that comes through in your top coat. At least that's what I've found. And it's kind of hard to get rid of that. But as I have discovered, when you use this primer first, when you paint over this with your top coat, that disappears. I have discovered that priming it really is advantageous. And so, you know, I've been converted. I prime my kits now. I use the primer, and I never used to. So, you know, that's the way it is. This one's almost dry. These ones, this one looks about the same. These two still need a little bit of time. So, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to take my, I don't need this clean one, I'll use this one. And I'll take some white spirit. And I will dip my Q-tip into it, set it down. Now again, if you leave your Q-tip just soaking wet, you're just going to pull all that paint up. You don't want to do that. So that's why I'm almost making it dry. And then I'm not pressing hard, I'm pressing very lightly. I don't want to get into the grooves. And I just want to take the black off of the top surface. Now, of course, I didn't really lay down a super thick layer of white, but you can see how how dirty my Q-tip is getting because of getting the paint off of it. But I didn't do a super light coat of white in there, and so this doesn't really look that much different. Well, on the camera, I know it doesn't really, but you're gonna have to trust me. It looks better. Another thing you could do is wipe it like that. Okay, that would be a bit of a faster way. You could just take the thinner, put it on here, and just give it a wipe, right? You just go like this. Just do it with the grain, not against, because you go against the grain, you're going to get into the grooves and you're going to pull the paint out of it, and you don't want to do that. These two are done. Do they look different than these? Yes, they do. Do they look really different? No, it's not a huge difference. Am I happy with it? Maybe not so much. Maybe I think it could be better. I admit that. I could have done 2 coats of white, making the white much more prominent, so that when I did this, it would be much more noticeable. There. So you can see how much it took off, and yet it doesn't look that different. Am I happy with it? No, I'm not. Because when I put these together, you can't really see the detail, and I want to see the detail. That's going to go like this, and I can't see a lot of detail in there. See, take a look at this. You can't really see a lot of the detail, okay? And I would like to see more of that detail. When I look down the can of this thing, where's my nozzles? Let's grab a nozzle. When I look down the nozzle, I want to see some detail. And yet, I can't really. Come on, camera. See, you can't really see the detail. Of course, everything's black in there because of the black nozzle, but that's why I want the detail. So, I'm going to redo the white. I'm going to redo the white on this, okay? That's what we're going to do. Kind of start over. Okay, let's go back to our painting can. Put these back on. Okay. And this time, we're going full white. Okay, And now we're going to give that, now you don't want to focus back, come on. We're going to give that a minute or 5 to dry there. Okay. Meanwhile, we have these ones. And we got to go white on the inside. So how do you get the white on the inside? Well, these ones I am going to do insignia white. No, I'm not. I am going with regular white, and I'm just going to use regular Vallejo and use a brush. It's not supposed to do that. Tell me it's stuck. Ah, there we go. That's the first time I've ever had that happen. Okay. Grab a little brush. Paint those in there. This I just might leave one coat because it's streaking very nicely the way I like it, with the kind of effect that I kind of want, just naturally. One coat on that that's perfect. I don't need any more on the inside of that. I like that a lot. I wish other ones I've done had the same effect. Other ones, you know, I've had to do different coats and weathering and panel lining and streaking and all that kind of stuff. This just kind of came out like perfect. Perfect. No problem at all. Okay, now I want to get that clean, so give me a moment while I take this and rinse it out, and I'll be back. This down over here, put my brush away. Okay, how are we doing with these guys? Pretty much dry, but I think I want to hit them with more white. I want to do another coat. All right, they are white, 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 white. As you can see, boom, they are white. Woohoo! White, white, white. Just like that. Okay, now I gotta wait for them to dry before I can do anything else. Now, nozzles. Typically, what I would do is gunmetal. But I don't necessarily want to do gunmetal. I think even a dark gray, by the time, at the end of the day, when you're finished making the thing look like the way you want it, if you do a gunmetal base, it disappears in all the weathering that you do. Even right here, they want you to paint it in a what they call a burnt red, so it's not even gunmetal, and it doesn't even look. You look at the pictures of the nozzles on F-18s. In fact, I'm going to take a look at one right now, and because I've got a bunch of photos and in my F-18 folder. They basically look black. There's not really a lot of weathering to see on the nozzles on these things. They look kind of a grayish black color. There's not really much to do on them. That's why I think F-18 nozzles are a little bit boring. You don't see all the different fins and everything and the mechanisms that make them expand and retract and stuff like that. It's just not there, and that's why I think they're a little bit boring to paint. You can do them gray and do a little bit of weathering, put a little black panel liner on there, scuff them up, make them look a little bit aged, and you're done. Done like dinner. This is what our little cone halves look like now, although now they're still a little bit wet. They're still tacky because I've got the paint nice and thick on them. So, in fact, this one could use a little bit more here on this edge. So I'm going to do that. Any of the others need a little touch up on their edges. Maybe this one. This one definitely. You know what? Let's just do all four. Let's just do all four. Okay. Having to paint those things a lot more than I really intended to, but that's okay. So these two, I want to do a dark gray. I don't really want to disturb the white on the inside too much. So let's pick a dark gray here. These ones I would normally grab the airbrush and do it that way, but I don't think it's really necessary right now for these guys. So I'm just going to pick a dark gray here to use. And grab a couple of these. Go like that. I do want to hit it kind of right on that angle. I want to try and minimize the amount on the inside. I could mask it. You know what? I'm just going to mask it. Why play around? Should not have done that. Screwed that up right off the bat. Go. All right. Got it masked. That's good enough. So now I can kind of not worry about getting it at the right angle, although I should. Damn it. Okay. This is what we're going to do. This is a much more pain in the neck way. But, well, I guess you could argue that it's a better way. And you'd probably be right that it's a better way, because I'm going to make sure that every part is masked. So paint isn't going to get in there. There we go. Okay, so now when I spray, it's not going to get in there. It doesn't really matter if I get any in there. It's so far in, it's not a big deal. But does that mean I care? I do care. I don't know why. I still don't want to get any in there. So let's just continue with these and go in from the back side. Okay. You guys who watch me on YouTube, you're lucky that you don't have to sit and watch me do all this. Only you guys watching me live. All right. Now we're masked. We're fully masked on the inside. Okay? Okay. So now we can do that, and now that's ready for paint. Let's continue. We got to do this one now. My chat is chatty as usual. One person said hi and the rest are silent. Typical. Okay, that's the front part. Okay, I only need like one more little piece. It's too wide. There we go. Okay, 2 pieces now ready for paint. Alright, so let's move these guys out of the way. These guys should be all nice and ready. These guys are ready for the panel liner treatment again. Here, go back to this. Basically, I could just do it with a big brush. I'm getting ready to be done here for the night, so I'm just going to do one to show you guys the difference in how it looks compared to earlier. So I'm going to let that dry while I hit these guys with a coat of paint. These guys here. Okay. Now, even though I've got it masked, I still want to be a little bit careful and so there you go. That's basically it. Just like that. Okay. There's one. There we go. Pretty good. Just like that. Okay. Those sit. All right. So, let's see how this looks. If I take this now and just give it a wipe, you can see it kind of pulls a whole lot of it out. Especially when you let it fall on the floor. There's my finger sticking in the inside. Because it's still, the black is still very wet, when you try to pull it off of there, it's kind of pulling it a whole lot. Okay. Like that. And it doesn't look that good now, does it? So it takes some refinement. It takes some refinement to get that looking just the way you want. But that's not bad. That's not bad at all. That looks a lot better, and that's a lot better than just plain white, right? But I'm going to continue with these other 3. Okay, you guys already know this is going to be going together like this. Okay, you already know these 2 go together. They go on this, like so. Okay, you get it to snap in there, and you've got that. And already with the white, it's like, whoo, wow, I can actually see all the way in there. But if I take this one and put these 2 together, it's a whole other story. Get that to snap together. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to change my glasses so I can see. Back to the overhead, I'll show you. Okay, you can see the difference. Big time difference, right? So there you go. That's what you get. You get that, put the nozzle onto the end, and you've got your two engines ready to go. And that's it. And so with that, I'm going to call it a day. That's going to be it for now, guys. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and thank you for coming out. I think the one guy who said, hey, thanks for doing that. Yeah. So, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. More subscribers, more happy. It's the way it is. And if you like this kind of stuff, why not hit the like button down below? And comment. Give me a comment. Tell me how you feel. If you think this stuff sucks, let me know. If you think it's really great, well, let me know too. Either way, I'm happy to get feedback. Either way, let me know. Give me ideas. What should I do better? What can I do better? What would you like to see more of? You want to see more of the detailed stuff where I'm zooming in on everything? You want to see more painting? You want to just see my face? Whatever. Yeah, let me know in the comments below, please. And like and subscribe, and check out those links down in the description box. You'll see my Instagram and my Twitch and all that good stuff. And once again, thanks guys for watching. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to leave it here. I will finish these guys up, and we will deal with some stuff in the next one. Probably installation of these is going to be my next guess. Yep, next page, we're putting our fins on and our wings and our engines, and then the landing gear. So with that, I'm going to call it a night, and thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming out, and we'll see you all in the next one.